Welcome back to KTN News Special. I'm Nokip Kimboy. We're discussing matters education, especially technical training in Kenya, and how we can synergize the whole academic ecosystem so that it's easy for somebody to go through all these stages in the academic life in the country without much struggle. But at this particular moment, I want to bring in Paul. Paul, in terms of technical, you run a technical institute, and there are universities, colleges offering this similar course that you are offering. Is there some sort of synergy, or is there a disconnect? Can a student leave your institution and head to university and still be, on the same wavelength?
Thank you. Right now, there's a bit of a disconnect because there is no proper channel created in a way they can progress from where they stopped. If someone leaves Talanta Institute, they go to university, most of the time they have to start from scratch. So there is no looking at what have they covered in their coursework so that they can progress from there. Because you find when you come to a TVET, okay, like us, we do a lot of practical, hands-on classes. Yes, it's theory, but you also do a lot of, like projects and all that. So you would expect in future there can be a way that that can be assessed. In a way, when you go to university, you're not having to repeat a lot of what you have covered in a TVET. So it's not yet very clear how you progress. And that has been coming up as students come from our college. They've done either certificate or diploma level and they want to advance. When they go, there is always that challenge of where do they start. Most of the time they have to start from scratch, and they realize most of the things they're having to repeat again. So I feel that that needs to be harmonized, and we need to recognize what they've already done, the courses they've done before, so that again they don't waste another whole year repeating what they already did. And also it's a waste of time, but also money. So I believe that needs to be harmonized. There should be a way of progressing. Definitely.
And Agnes, I understand that your body is doing something to help solve this particular issue. What exactly are you doing?
Maybe just to correct you, that is the mandate of KNQA.
Yes.
But we work very closely together. So probably my colleague could respond to that.
Before even you come to Professor Mukwana, because we're talking about placement services, yeah? You are the people who allocate, to say the least, in these learning institutions. So if, for example, I'm leaving Talanta Institute, Paul Mukoma's Institute, and I'm seeking placement in a different university, maybe on a high level university level. Is this seamless currently as you speak?
Currently, our placement is for students who have done the examination, the KCSE exam. That is the grade that we look at, whether they got an A all the way to an E. So the placement is based on that exam. Unfortunately, we do not look at what they have done in other colleges and the skills that they have. So they may be having those skills, but if they did not get a C, for example, a C+, then we are not able to place them in the university. So the criteria, currently our placement criteria is very limited to KCSE, limited, and you can understand this because we are talking about government-sponsored scholarships, so they are competing for very limited resources. We are looking at going beyond government-sponsored, where we can place students who are self-sponsored. So if we work with an institution and they tell us this is the criteria we want you to use to place students who are self-sponsored in our institution, and one of the criteria they provide is the student must have some certain skills, for example, in filming, then to do the degree in filming, then we would be able to to develop that criteria for an institution. But currently, we are looking at government-sponsored students into colleges and universities, and therefore it limits to just the KCSE results. It also limits to one scholarship in their lifetime. For example, if you got a degree, you were sponsored to do a degree course, unfortunately you cannot come and tell us that you'd like the government to sponsor you for a TVET course. You would have to take that, to take care of yourself on that.
Okay,
yeah.
So that, hopefully that mandate is expanded. But coming now to Dr. Juma, Paul has noted quite a disconnect between these different, levels of learning, quote-unquote levels of learning, because skills is acquired in each and every key skill. So you mentioned there is effort to streamline this, and you've already done that in agriculture. How exactly have you done that, and how can it be expanded into other fields?
Thank you, Noah. Yes, one of the things that you notice when you look at the Kenyan education system is that there is a lot of disconnect between the different institutions and the different levels of learning. So we have a lot of roadblocks, and part of the work of the KNQA is to try and open up these roadblocks. And what we are doing is that we are also borrowing from international best practice. For example, if I give an example, if you go to the European Union, they have worked out a credit accumulation and transfer system where a student studying a Bachelor of Commerce can start off in year 1 in Spain and go to year 2 in the Netherlands and do year 3 in Germany and actually finish the same in Belgium, and they will still finish in 4 years because they have integrated their system. Part of the challenge that we have here is we operate in silos. So we have our universities and our TVET institutions, everybody hiding in their room and developing curricula. And sometimes the curriculum that you are developing for a BSc in horticulture or a BSc in business administration, you are not minding about what the students have covered at lower levels. So there's a student who has done a certificate in business management or a diploma in business management. And one of the issues that we see is there's too much duplication. So a student has done a diploma, and if you see what they have covered, 70% of it has already covered what is at the degree level. And the student is forced to repeat and pay for it. So part of what we are doing is to try and sort out this kind of roadblocks by putting universities, TVET institutions, and even vocational training centers into one room and saying, what are you teaching? And how does it inform the next level? So we've done this for agriculture. We had a workshop at Egerton University where all universities that are offering agricultural and livestock and forestry courses were put into one room together with all the diploma colleges, both private, Baraka College, Dairy Training School, Bukura, and vocational training centers. And we looked at the courses that they're doing and the content. And part of what we have agreed is that we now need an integrated curriculum development system. And so as KNQA, we are putting together a national policy on how to develop curriculum so that your curriculum, even if you're a university, you have to look at what the TVET is covering and what the vocational, so that we don't duplicate these things. And for agriculture, we have already agreed, for example, that a student that has done a diploma that is recognized by the Kenya National Qualification Framework, joining a university, will study for 2 years instead of 4 years. A certificate person joining a diploma will study for 1 year instead of 2 years. But if you come straight from KCSE for a diploma, you study for 2 years. But if you have a certificate, you study for 1 year. If you come from KCSE and go to university to study a bachelor's degree, you study for 4 years. But if you have a diploma, you study for 2 years. And this has been agreed across the board and both the universities and TVET institutions. But now the onus is, of course, on the KNQA to ensure that those diplomas are set in the standard of Kenya for the diplomas and the certificates, and that's our role. So we are making sure that only certificates and diplomas and degrees that meet the KNQA standard are involved in that kind of process. And this will go a long way in supporting student progression and also the concept of lifelong learning, because we do know that people learn continuously in life. And as a country, we must learn to appreciate that people learn in different ways, not because they are bad, but because that is the way it works for different people.
Definitely. And Paul, there is now from the technical institutions now heading into the work environment. I understand there are professional bodies that are there to regulate and make sure that the standards of the profession are upheld at the end of the day. So for example, for film that you're offering, how vibrant are these professional bodies in making sure that they are working together with the technical institutions?
I would say our industry is, it's coming up a bit slow, especially in Kenya, but of late we've had a lot of emphasis going into film. So these bodies are like the Media Council of Kenya. We have the Kenya Film Commission. We have our regulator for content, KFCB. Right now, they are really engaged in, and they're really working with institutions and content developers in how to help them get into the industry. But then you realize, and that's why I'm happy to have Dr. Juma here. We have so many filmmakers who've not been to any media school. They started as a hobby and a passion. They picked a camera, started doing films, and they've gotten to a place they are competent filmmakers. Because you look at what they're doing amazing stuff where you find even someone from university cannot create that. So I feel what is really needed right now is working with K&Q to see how do we help these people, because they're already doing films. They feel they don't have time to go and sit and do a degree for 4 years or a diploma for 2 years. And they will go and realize, like some people we have trained, they try to go to do a degree. They went and dropped out after a few months. They realize what they are doing. At that point, they feel like they've been taken back to kindergarten because they're already competent filmmakers. So there is need for now working with a body like K&Q to see how are they helped, and how do we recognize that prior learning. They've been doing film for 10 years. They've worked on a film. It has gone it has won awards. They are working on TV programs. How do we help these people get accredited, get certified, so that as they register for these bodies, they're not being asked, okay, where did you learn? What level are you at? So there is that need to help these young people, especially who have gotten into the industry as a passion, as a hobby. They become very good at it. Maybe they could not have qualified at that time to go to college, and they already feel like it's already too late to go to college because what they've got to learn is something they're already doing. So I'm very happy we have now K&Q helping, and to see how can we help these people. How can we also work with institutions? Because some of them come to Talanta and they want to take shortcuts. They say, I know everything you're training. They actually come to do workshops at our school, because when it comes to workshop and master classes, they can do very well. But then they say, now I've gone to get for a job, and I've been asked for a certificate. They need a paper, because some places you go, you must have a paper. How can you help me get a diploma? And at times they want a diploma in 1 week. And you know that cannot happen. That would be corruption. So they are like, okay, please help me. You're my friend. I need a diploma in a month. Because just certified, you know me. You know what I can, I produce films. You see the films I produce, the TV shows I do. So how can you help me do this? So we need to see how can we work with a body like K&Q to, what is the process of acknowledging what they have learned, seeing how we certify them. So this is something that would really need to work together. And I'm happy we have Dr. Juma here to help us how we can help some of these people. Some of them I know are watching, and I told them, no, you can't get a diploma in 1 week. There's a process. We are regulated by the government. A diploma takes 2 years. Certificate takes this. There's that regulation by the government, which we acknowledge it's meant to be there. But I'm happy that now we have these other routes that we can, we can use K&Q and see how do we acknowledge this learning and certify.
Definitely.
Maybe Dr. Juma will also help us how we can,
yeah, and
how we can help these young people.
Definitely. And he touched on that before we took a break on the first half. But maybe you can clarify, in the interest of time, we have less than 5 minutes to go. So we want to close this up. We're on the last stretch. Agnes, for the year 2021, I understand this is like a year of rebirth for majority of the world after what we went through in 2020. So for Kenya University and College Central Placement Services, is there an interest and something that you're focusing to achieve for this year that is different to prior years?
Yes, this is an interesting year for us. First, just recognizing that the school calendar has changed. This is a time in January, exams, results are already out in the previous years, and students at this time look at the courses they want to go in. By this time, we are working with the first revision, then they go to second revision. So that has changed for us. Now we are looking at students who are preparing to sit for an exam. So what we would have done from October is what we are doing now. We have opened our systems so that the students are able to do what we call the school or center application. This is where the students with their career teachers, they go through the courses that are available, they look at their strengths, their capacities, and they are guided on the courses to take when they go to either university or activate institution. So we opened the system on the 4th of January, and the schools list all the students who are currently sitting for exams. Now, as they do that, they give us all the contacts of the student, which is very important. For example, if a student does the exam and probably they thought they would get a C, or let me give a good example. We had a student who got a B+, and they had selected a certificate course. So when that happens, we get in touch with this student and we find out, are you sure that is what you want to pursue? You may have chosen this because you felt you were not going to attain the marks.
Okay.
So we are able to engage with the students. So this is that period where all these schools put the students' information on our system, on our portal, so that we are able to engage with them after the results are out. Allow me to just add that this process is very important, and it will be going on up to the 31st of March, 31st of March, where all the schools, we hope that they can register their students, and as they do that, they guide them on the courses of their preferred career.
Okay.
Thank you.
Our time is up. Dr. Juma, I know, our time is up. And you're very passionate. So tell me, in less than 30 seconds, if somebody wants to get that qualification and they haven't gone into they're self-taught, how can they get help?
Yes, the recognition of prior learning issue is we have developed a portal and we are working with examination bodies. The KNQA doesn't assess you. Examination bodies established, NEC, CDAC, will assess you, and then we have set the rules and the minimum qualification that you need to have to be assessed at different levels.
Okay.
And so this is being rolled out. What else do I say? Now
Definitely. Actually, there's so much to say, but there's no time
There's no
to say the
time.
things.
So let's leave it
so
there.
we have
And
to
then,
close this up
we'll do
right
this
here.
next time.
But gentlemen, lady, really appreciate you taking time to clarify some of these issues. With that said, I'm Nokip Kimboy. This is KTN News Special. Do have yourself a good day. Good Good morning to you. Welcome to KTN News Special. I'm Nokip Kimboy, and today we are focusing on matters education, and to be specific, technical education in the country. What exactly is going on in this particular level of education? Is it being done right? Is the placement right? And those are some of the questions that we're going to explore today. Starting and joining me in the panel this morning, of course, being a gentleman, I'll start by introducing a lady, Miss Agnes Mercy, who is the acting CEO, Kenya Universities and Colleges Central Placement Services. Then we have Mr. Paul Mukoma, who is the CEO of Talanta Institute. And lastly, we have Dr. Eusebius Juma Muhwana, who is the CEO, Kenya National Qualifications Authority. Lady, gentlemen, welcome to KTN News Special. Starting off, Paul, you run an institution. How is it affected by COVID-19?
I mean, we are among the industries that were really affected. Thank you very much for this opportunity to discuss this. And yes, education was among the sectors that were really affected by COVID. Of course, we had to close down, and that affected cash flow, that affected so many things. And so we are bouncing back, and we feel COVID has also taught us so many valuable lessons. It has actually, hastened our, moving online and doing some things virtually. So we'd say, yes, COVID had a negative effect, but at the same time, it has taught us some very important lessons.
Definitely a lot of lessons to learn through this COVID period. It has really, exposed so much potential that we didn't know we had. And Agnes, coming to you, you deal with placement, of universities and colleges. We know COVID-19 disrupted the calendar, the academic calendar. Shed some more light on how it affected the placement in these higher learning institutions.
Thank you very much, Paul, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to join you on studio today. Yes, COVID-19, like we all know, nobody prepared. We've had lessons. In terms of placement, this came just before we did our cycle of placement, and we had to be limited to going out to meeting the students who had sat for the exams and getting them to know how to do their revision for the placements. The ones who are joining the university now. We got limited in terms of our career guidance activities. We always have programs in schools where we visit schools and we enlighten them on the available careers and the available courses in the universities and colleges, so that in that way we were limited. However, we had an opportunity to challenge ourselves and think out of the box, use technology. So we were able to reach a lot of Kenyans on matters career guidance using the technology. Yeah.
Definitely. Technology actually seems to be an overarching, topic and tool that COVID-19 has pushed everyone. Dr. Muhwana, the issue about qualification, it is what you do, it is your specialty. In this COVID period, has there been a shift or a change that you've observed in terms of what areas people are looking to be qualified under? Because we know digital skills is one of the tools that people do need to operate in this new normal that we are now in.
Yes, thank you for hosting me, and I want to join my colleagues in saying that COVID has brought to the surface some of the issues that we have been talking about for a long time. As an institution that is tasked with ensuring that the qualifications are of high quality, because part of what we do is to set national standards for qualifications to ensure that the qualifications that we generate into the market are of high quality and are relevant to the market. One of the areas that we have seen is that we are now coming up with because previously we had rules and standards on qualifications and how they met the Kenyan standard. We've now been forced to revise those rules to ensure that even as colleges move to teach online and examine online, that the quality of those qualifications remain good. So part of what we are doing, the other issue also that we do at the Kenya National Qualifications Authority is that we recognize, we equate and verify qualifications. And before COVID, we were doing it using a manual system. So we had many, many young people and students that came to our offices. And within a day or so, we stopped the whole service because of government regulations that people should not access our offices. And I'm happy to say that this challenged us and we developed an online system. So we continued to offer this service of recognition, equation and verification using an online platform. We have also revised our rules and regulations on how colleges can teach online to ensure that the teaching remains of high quality. And more importantly, before this, we had never attempted examinations online. So we have now colleges and universities moving to offer exams online, and the authority has developed appropriate rules and regulations to guide using of online platforms for examinations to ensure that they are fair and they are valid and they are relevant. So that's where we are.
Definitely. And Paul, what Dr. Mukhwana has spoken about, these changes, have they been adequately communicated to these learning institutions like Talanta Institute? Have you guys gotten an update on how you are to do these online classes that you've been doing?
Yes, we've gotten the communication, but we must admit it's work in progress because this was a time of crisis that so many of these things had to be done so fast. So it's a process. So we've learned, we've gotten information of some of the things we need to do. Some of the other guidelines are still coming up. Like Dr. Juma said about how do you do assessments. Being a TVET institution, most of the courses we train are technical. Now we train in film production, camera operations. So there are some of those things that doing online, we are still identifying how do you assess somebody, how they use a camera online. And we have discovered that some of these things have to be a hybrid of both, that yes, there are things that can be done online. Yes, there are things that need contact. So yes, I admit this communication is being done, but also some of the other guidelines and rules are being developed as we progress.
Agnes, let's delve into this issue of technical institutions in the country. First of all, with placement, normally the focus is on higher, on universities, to say the least. Actually, I think 2 years ago there was a student who scored an A, and he said he wanted to go to a TVET institution, and that was a big story. And his argument was, I need the technical know-how, of which I don't think the universities do offer. So in the placement arena, why is there not so much focus on technical institutions?
I would like to first say that it all begins with our attitudes. For a long time, the notion of going for technical courses has always been seen as, a space for people who have failed in their exams. So if you didn't make it to the university, then you go for a diploma or certificate or artisan course. But that's not the case. We really want to change that narrative and say that TVET courses are, a space where you get more skills, practical skills on the course that you have, or the career that you would like to pursue. Let me give an example. You find in some countries, somebody will pursue a degree course, and once they are done, they go back and do a diploma course so that they can get the practical skills. For example, an engineer will go back and do plumbing so that they are able to combine these two skills. So when we had a student get an A, I think it was an A-, and they preferred to take a TVET course. For me, I think that's the right way of thinking in terms of somebody first being able to step aside and say, it doesn't matter what everybody thinks. First, I need to pursue what I feel is right for me, what I find is exciting for me, and then go for it regardless of the level of, whether degree, diploma, or artisan. So as COOPs, we are placing students in technical institutions. For the time being, we are placing in those that are under government, the government program, and mainly the Ministry of Education. So we are placing in about 163 centers, and this is the third year. We've had 3 years now that we've placed students in TVET institutions under the government scholarships.
Indeed, a work in progress. Yes. Dr. Juma, is it because of certification? Because, an employer is looking for somebody to do something. Majority of the minimum qualification, you should have a degree and maybe some work experience. So is this our society's notion towards the purpose that we hold other than the skills, or what are we missing?
Thanks. I think it is partly part of our colonial history. We have moved, if you look at the globally, you can almost say that the development level of a country is determined by how many TVET graduates we have. If you think about it, TVET is our life. If you're talking about plumbers, you're talking about masons, road engineers, people that do construction, cooking, film. So you actually see that TVET is part of our life. But then as a country, I think because of our policies that have not worked very well in the past, we have overemphasized the issue of degrees, and everybody went rushing to get papers. You remember what the economy is looking for is not papers. The economy is looking for skills. What really grows this country, what an employer is looking for is a set of skills that will help them to achieve a task. And so because of this rush for papers, and so we have ended up producing a lot of graduates that now do not have jobs. So I always say that we now have ended up with a situation where we have jobs without people and people without jobs in the same space, because we have not been emphasizing TVET enough. And so the feeling now is, if you really want to take Kenya to the next level, to the next development arena, TVET is critical. And so and I'm happy that the Ministry of Education, my peers, and the CS are really working on this, and we see now a lot of interest in the area of TVET, both in support, infrastructure, new equipment, new teachers. And I think that with the direction that we have taken, because 3 years ago, we had less than 100,000 students enrolled in the TVET sector. Today, as we talk, we are nearly 500,000. So I see that there is a transformation. I see that there is an appreciation. And as an authority, we are working to ensure that the people who come out of TVET really have skills to change this economy. That they don't also end up having papers like graduates, because usually when you increase the numbers, part of what suffers is quality. So our role is to ensure that as we increase the numbers, that the graduates still come out with good skills that they can practice in the place of work.
Definitely. And Paul, for example, for Talanta Institute doing film is very practical, like many other technical courses. Yeah. You need to take time and spend time with your camera to learn the settings, the lighting, all this. It works best in a small and intimate environment. Mm-hmm. And you've seen also large institutions, universities offering similar courses that you're offering. So from your observation over the years that you've been in business, have you seen that transition where maybe some people are feeling in a larger setting, they're leaving larger settings and setups, for example, universities, to come to these technical spaces to be able to acquire some of these skills?
Yeah, thank you very much. No, and yes, I agree. I've seen some people, some of them drop out of university to go back to TVET, but some of them also graduate then, like Mercy has said, and then go and do a TVET course. Case and study, one time we trained a graduate of Kenyatta University. He was doing film there, and he came to do a short course. Because ours was really more practical. He has the camera every time doing the projects. So he came and did a short course. Then out of that, he was able to go back and do the masters, and he became one of the best trainers at the university and the Kenya Film School. So I see right now people's mindset has changed. Some people, they may go to university and feel, no, this is not the place for me, go to TVET. Some may wait and graduate. We've gone to an extent of training trainers here, or lecturers in university. They've done up to master's level or doctorate level, but they feel, I need to learn skills. I need to learn technical skills. So, and that's why I feel TVET, or what we are doing, is a way of life. It should not be taken as a course on its own, or a level that if you don't attain these marks, you go to TVET. No, it should be taken as part of the system, part of the education system, where you can actually go through TVET, then to university, and we've seen so many people do that. Or you can go start with university, then go to TVET and learn a skill. So it should not be seen as a place for people who have failed to attain a grade for university. You can get an A and still go to TVET. You can get an E and start at TVET and progress. Like Dr. Juma has said, you can progress and start an artisan course, a certificate course, go in levels until you can go to a doctorate level, because there is that route now where you can start at TVET and keep attaining, levels of education. It may take you longer, but you can achieve your wildest dreams through TVET. So it should not be taken as, separate. It should be taken as any other, same as university, and as a mainstream, or like, like any other, course, whether it's engineering, there is a TVET level of that, and this should actually be, they should all marry and to produce, the best, the best people for the industry.
Collaboration is very important in all this. Agnes, looking at the programs that we have, that you place people under in colleges and universities, we have 529 degree programs, 215 diploma programs, 109 certificate programs, 137 artisan programs. So we can see their trend. Degrees, we have so many programs. You've said for the past 3 years the government has really been intentional to direct people towards technical courses. Is there any other, alternatives and ways that you're pushing also and boosting our technical training?
Yes, we have been working directly with the technical colleges, especially the national polytechnics. We have 11 in the country. And we have been working on a marketing program. How can they be able to market their programs better? I always make a joke and say, every time you look at the website of most of our learning institutions, what we see is a gate, a very big gate. And my question is, does that sell the programs we have in that institution? So I feel there is a deliberate need to market the programs that we have. I've now learned that Talanta has filming. How many programs, beautiful programs, do we have out there that are not known to Kenyans? So you find, because of that mindset that it has to be degree, then you find even the universities are getting very creative and having more and more university courses listed in our website. We work with a TVET institution so that we are able to link the public with what they are offering. So once they join and become part of the members of COPS, then we are able to market for them the courses that are out there. So allow me to just make a point. We are moving into a new education system, the CBC. Yes, and we have students now, I think, in grade 4. We need to think as TVET institutions, what will it look like at the TVET level, you know, for those students? What will be the minimum requirements to get to do a degree under this CBC curriculum, to do a diploma, or to do a certificate or artisan course? And I'm sure my brother, Dr. Muhwana, is already thinking that way, because for us, we need that so that we are able to start marketing the courses in that new dispensation of the CBC. So it's interesting to see how things evolve, because that definitely will affect our placement criteria.
Definitely. And Dr. Muhwana, just briefly before we take a break, the issue of, you know, CBC, Agnes has touched on it. How will this revolutionize technical training in the country?
Yes, just before I come to that, I wanted to indicate that one of the things that we are working with Mercy and her team is that current admissions were based only on KCSE, for example. And we do know that part of what the Kenya National Qualifications Authority has created is alternative pathways to education. So part of what we have been talking about is issues of credit accumulation and transfer. How does a certificate or an artisan student progress to a certificate level? And we have already provided for that, and we are working with them to that, so that criteria can be included in the admission. A diploma student that wants to do a degree, and at which level do they start? And we have already, what we are doing now is we are doing this profession by profession, and we have already completed for the agricultural sector the universities and the colleges. So we have had workshops and meetings where we brought universities and TVET institutions and examination bodies together to determine if a student has a diploma from Bukura College and wants to join Egerton University, where do they start? So this has been done and it has been adopted, and we would like this to be included as part of the admission criteria. The other great thing that is on the horizon is the issue of recognition of prior learning, because part of what we have done, we started here by talking about skills. And we do know that we have people with skills in this country that have not gone to any class. So your average mechanic, the one who repairs your car, or your mason who is building your house, really don't have a paper, but they have skills. They can fix tiles, they can do plumbing. So part of what we are developing, and we have already rolled out a national policy on how to recognize skills that have been acquired without people going to class. This is provided within the law, and this is what we are calling recognition of prior learning. So we are now working on a national framework for rolling out identification of skills. So you will find that in the Juakali sector, we have, which is running about 80% of this economy in terms of generation of wealth, a lot of the skills that are producing our products and our services in the Juakali sector are not acquired through a classroom. And so as an authority, that is a minefield that we have been sitting on. We have ignored those skills. We have pretended that they are not there. And yet, they are the skills that are driving the economy of Kenya. And so, as an authority, we now have rolled out a national policy and guidelines on how to recognize prior learning. And once somebody is issued with a certificate of prior learning, which indicates that they have a skill, but they have learned this skill at the workplace, then that certificate should also be used for them to progress their studies. And we hope that we can, with time, we can work with groups to have these certificates recognized for admission. On the CPC issue, this is a really change in our education system. And what you realize is that there is a part of the specialization. Like in high school, we have the junior high school, which is year 1, 2, 3, and we have the senior high school, that is also 3 years. But in the senior high school, people diversify, that you choose to do the sciences, or you choose to do the arts, or you choose to do talent, running, sports, and so on. So in my view, and we are already working with KICD and NEC to remap our education system on the Kenya National Qualifications framework. And so students who specialize at Form 3, they will move on to become, if you're a musician, if you want to do film, if you want to run, if you want to do sports, that we grow you in that direction. So I see that, because what has happened in the past, and I want to finish, is that we put students with different talents on the same. We say, on your marks, and the exercise is for us to climb the tree. So you put a monkey, you put an elephant, you put a fish, and you're saying, on your marks, now climb the tree. You are sure the monkey will win. And if you wanted to swim, the fish will win. So what we want to say is that we want to grow and assess students for what they are good at, so that we don't have this blanket system where all of us reach Form 4 and you get an E, another one gets an A, and we call the one who has gotten an E a failure, and yet this is a guy who is going to win a marathon the next day. So really, as a country, we have been very unfair, and it is good that we have recognized this, and the CBC is working to resolve those kind of issues.
Definitely, and it's quite interesting because all of us, we can, put ourselves, you are a monkey or an elephant in a particular situation in school or in your academic journey in this country. And hopefully that is being corrected by the competence-based curriculum. But at this particular moment, KTN News Special will take a short break. We'll return with more.